Hey guys, this is Brian here again. Welcome back to my garage for part 2 of my video on hobbyist HVLP spraying. What we're looking for here are professional results in not so professional environments, namely our own garages or small shops. If you watched a bit of the first part of the video, you would have seen my makeshift spray booth that I've set up, and we used it to shoot some stain onto a couple of pieces yesterday, and today we're going to go through and put urethane finish on them and hopefully get some good results. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about my setup here, and the whole purpose of this video is to document about the most basic, inexpensive HVLP setup that you can imagine and show what kind of results you can get with it. So my most basic compressor is the Porter cable here I showed you yesterday, rated at 2.6 CFM at 90 psi. I think that would probably translate to about 3.4 at 40 psi. Still well below the 8.9 CFM that my Campbell Housefield HVLP spray gun requires by spec. But as I've already found out, it still works. It's just limited, and it's limited by the surface area that I can spray until I run out of air. I wanted to talk a minute about this gun that I'm using. I bought this at Rona, which here in Canada is a store a lot like Lowe's in the United States, or Home Depot. It cost about $80, so this is a very mid-range spray gun. You can go to an auto body shop and spend as much as you want on one of these guns, from hundreds to literally thousands of dollars. And I wouldn't recommend doing that, but the one thing that you do want to make sure, if you're going out to buy an HVLP spray gun, make sure it says it right on your gun, HVLP. Because this is a new technology in spray guns. There's things inside this gun that allow it to spray at a lower pressure. High volume, lower pressure. If you get an old style gun that might look exactly like this with the gravity cup on it, the overspray will be so great it's useless for our applications, for little woodworkers. The spray goes all over the place. So how do you know? Well, make sure your gun actually says right on it. Because if it does, don't trust the salesman. Don't trust what it says on the box. Make sure you get the right one. And yeah, and so I don't know if you're going to be able to get away with a $15 gun. Will those truly be HVLP, the Harbor Freight guns? I don't know. Some cost about $80, and I've been pretty happy with it. And the thing to understand about the mid-range guns is there are knockoffs of the more expensive ones. They're built to the same design as the Seda, DeVille Bliss guns. They're just not as well constructed. Those high-end guns are designed to be taken apart and put back together again multiple times a day in a professional environment. You know, the threads are stronger. But these guns do the same thing. I've got the dual action trigger. I can pull it a little bit and get my air before I pull it all the way and get my product coming out. There's just a bit of water in there from the last time that I cleaned it. And the gravity cup is a great thing on this design of gun. It allows you to save a lot of your leftover product. You can put lots in so you get a nice gravity feed. And then what you don't use, really easy to pour right back into your cup. That's one drawback of you can buy dedicated HVLP turbine air systems, where you get a gun attached to a little turbine unit, and they give you a really nice low pressure spray, but the cups are all the old style suction fed. And you can do your own research. There's a lot of drawbacks to those over the gravity fed. So honestly, I would recommend a setup like this for a smaller shop, as opposed to one of the, and those are quite a bit more expensive too, dedicated systems. And I think you'll probably see these guys, put those guys out of business in the next few years. Could be wrong. Okay. What we're going to be spraying today is urethane finish. This is Varathane, professional clear finish, satin base. No, I shouldn't say satin base. It's a satin finish, water based. And this is kind of the top of the line of Varathane's consumer products. They call it professional. Paid a couple extra bucks for it. It's a little bit pinkish instead of the kind of whitish color of the consumer satin finish. I haven't noticed any difference with it really. I mean, if I went to get some more, I'd probably just get the regular one. But it's the satin finish, urethane. We're going to shoot that with our gun onto what we stained yesterday. And I just wanted to talk about these compressors for a second, because this one I have here is an older model that I picked up at a garage sale. And the main difference between this one and this one is the fact that this is belt driven. I'm going to grab my camera here and show you the main advantage to a belt driven compressor, which is noise. Okay, we're going to do a little noise test. I'm going to turn on my low end Porter Cable oilless air compressor. Yeah, I don't think you can possibly design a more irritating sound than one of these oilless air compressors running. You know, I don't know how much the CIA spent on their water boards in Guantanamo Bay, but they probably could have saved a lot of money by just hooking a couple of those up in the cell with the terrorists for about 8 hours. Would have saved us all a lot of money, because those guys would have killed themselves a long time ago if they'd done that. Now, we're going to plug in this old 30-year-old belt-driven compressor that I bought at a garage sale. And okay, it's still a little bit loud. You know, it's not a pleasant sound, I suppose. But when you get back a little bit of ways from a compressor like this, it's not all that irritating. Another advantage of this belt-driven compressor, and I'll show you how it works. The pulley wheel drives 2 cylinders inside here, which force air into the tank, and there's an oil pan. There's oil in the bottom of here, keeping everything lubricated. And in a setup like this, you don't generate nearly as much heat as the oilless. As a result, I can let a compressor like that run while I spray, with a lot less worry about air temperature problems. And I was pretty happy to pick this thing up and get it running again. So I just mentioned that one benefit of a lubricated compressor is the fact that it doesn't heat up as much. And so you don't have to worry about your air conditioning. And so I should talk about what have I done in my setup to condition the air that I'm using to spray. The answer is nothing. I have no inline water filter. I've got no special traps. I'm not running steel pipe all over my garage at certain angles. You know, I'm not trying to say that those things are unnecessary, because I'm sure if you are painting expensive automobiles and with expensive automobile paint, you probably need all that. But I would argue that for the hobbyist woodworker, you really don't need that, and I think you can get great results without it. So, why don't we go shoot some urethane? And what I'm going to do is fill up the tank on the Porter Cable and see how far we get with one tank, because that's really the limitations I'm hoping to show you. How much surface area can you effectively spray on a tank full from these different compressors? And I'm a little bit worried that the project that I'm working on here is a little bit too small to show this well. If I can spray both of those little shelfy things with this porter cable, I'll pull out a shelf or something for our next coat so that I can make sure it runs out. There we go.